Hey, Shalom Yeshua, when the stuff source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth, while sincerity. This is just a quick one. This is should women be drafted? Right, Spirit had me at camp basically type that in so that I can remember to do a video on it. Well, because I knew to expect some what do you call it? The hypocrisy of these women, right? Because these women, what's the saying? They've made their bed, but now they don't want to lay in it, right? Or they've made their cake, now they don't want to eat it, right? So they wanted all these equal rights, this, that, and the other, right? But now that the prospect of them signing up for the draft, is becoming a more and more real one. Now they don't want it, right? So this is debate.org, right? This is basically asks the question: should women be drafted? Right, 51% say yes, 49% say no. But whatever happened to equal rights? Right, whatever happened to what do you call it? Whatever happened to the equality that these these feminists have fought so hard for, right? And you read some of these these things, and you can see where people, the men are saying, oh, equal, hey, you wanted equality, didn't you? Right? Hey, this guy, you can see he's pissed, right? It says women can vote, yet they are not drafted. This is what's wrong with modern society. In this feminist society, women have shorter senses. This is true, right? Are treated nicer than men, and they complain about men having more power, right? You see some, certain roles, like, we're looking for a female member of staff, this, that, and the other. You hear stories about men being, quote, overqualified. You see certain companies, they'll be advertising their job, their positioning, their job positioning, saying shit like, hey, we, what do you call it, where, we're a 50-50 male-female split. No, I mean, to me, that's a shit company, right? Because, you hire who's good, not, for some true bullshit, right? But then, what do you call it? You have the other side. This one here, I find jokes, as a man's duty is to give his life for a woman. No, it ain't. You obviously have no understanding of what the scriptures say. In fact, let me you gotta I can't think of them off the top of my head where they are in the scriptures, but you got the story in Judges, after verse 9, it's after chapter 19, 20, 21, where basically, you had the men trying to trying to come and have their way. If I do not this folly, yeah, we go. Right, it says Judges 19:22 says, now as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about and beat at the doors, like do 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 do. Right, it says, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, yo, bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. And what did they mean know him? They wanted to have their way with him. They wanted to fuck him, right? It says, and the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into mine house. Do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. So here it is. This man doesn't even know this Israelite like that. Because read the story, basically the Israelite was looking for a place to stay, and this man said, yo, come into my house. And they stayed there for a couple of days, right? But just so this man doesn't get sodomized, he says, have my daughter, right? So basically showing you and the same thing happened with Lot, man. Was with Lot? I forget the story at the top of my head, but basically like, hey, look, man, have these women instead, man. Don't be trying to pop this man. Right, have these women instead. And that's literally what he said. This is, behold, here is my daughter, a maiden. Right? See which yeah, I think this one, if I'm remembering correct, Buffwallah is a a true virgin, right? Just confirm that. Yeah. So that one's a true virgin, because what in the one in Isaiah 7:14, right? The prophecy about how about basically about how Mary uses the word virgin, which is al Ilama, right, which basically means a young woman, right? The Hebrew word for maid is Ilama, which merely means young woman, without making distinction as to whether she had laid with a man or not, right? So yeah, so that was a true. So so there was money on that. There was money on that woman, right? He could have said, "Hey man, look, hey you go to my you marry my daughter, give me them shekels, and we good." But he actually said, "Nah, hey, look, man, don't do any of this folly, right? Have my daughter instead, and his concubine, right? Them will I bring out now, and humble ye them, right? And do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing." So no, a man's role isn't to die for a woman. It's not his duty to give his life for him. But that's the world that we live in now. That's the world that Esau has created, right? Flipping things upside down. So Isaiah 29:16 says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding?" Right. So Esau's turned things upside down, but it shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, right? How's a something frame gonna turn around and say, "Look, man, the guy who put me in his frame had no understanding," which is what Esau's trying to do. He's trying to say that the Most High had no understanding in the way that the Most High did what he did. Right? The Lord set an order. Right? The Lord set an order. You can read about in 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. Right? Something from the 3rd verse. It says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahweh Shai, and the head of the and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is the Most High." Right, so the head of the woman is the man. So a man is above a woman according to the scriptures. Right, yeah, it was that Numbers. I forget what it is. Numbers or Exodus. And vow a Numbers 30. Right. So it says Numbers 30, I'm going to read verse 3. It says, "If a woman also vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand." Right? So basically, look, the father hears it, it's like, fair enough. Hey, you want to vow that? Cool. All right. But then it goes on to say, "But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, right, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her because her father disallowed her." Right? And it goes on to say the same thing about if she be in her husband's house. And the husband hears her, says, "Why is she vowing that for? Hey, Lord, man, hey, disannul that vow." Lord be like, hey, cunt, all right, cool, man. Why? Because these women ain't fully there, man. They ain't on, Well, but what else is that showing? That's showing you that the man is, what you call it, is the more important one in that equation, right? So we go back to here, right? Like I said, you can read into it, man. What do you call it? Yes, equality between genders, and that's basically what would you call it? All of this side here, which is this side here is talking about equality, man. About how this is what you wanted, this is what these women want. But that's something, I'll give you a quick testimony, man. These women, man, they only respect power, right? And I've seen certain instances. Brother told me a story. I won't go into that. That was his business. But basically, women were, women managers and all that. And brother just said, hey, this is the policy, that we have, and in what you call it, in the business. Right, as soon as she heard policy, she was like, "Oh shit, I could lose my jobs," and all of a sudden she started acting correct. But before, she wasn't trying to act correct, right? Me personally saw one chick trying to basically badmouth, what do you call it, a man, right? saying, oh, I'ma slap you, I'ma slap you. And I just said, hey man, that's assault, right? Because that shit was pissing me off. You going up to a grown ass man telling him you're gonna slap. As soon as I said that, right, issues all of a sudden it's different, because now it's not a thing of, because she knew she he tries to hit her back. She's got all of these Captain Saver hoes that are gonna save her. But as soon as you say, look man, look, you now have consequences for your actions. Now you want to start behaving, and this is another one example of that, right? Now you've got consequences. Now there are genuinely bad things that can happen. Now you want to, start behaving. Now equality isn't good for you, right? Another one, oh, I'm a woman, this makes me want to cry, blah, 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 blah. Women being drafted, it's not smart, right? And you basically go up into here, right? So let me read this from the Daily Signal, right? It says, but is it too little too late? The policy is in place, but policies change. Although Israel hasn't put women in direct combat since 1948, they experimented with women in tank crews and the armored corps and reversed the policy. Britain too has gone back and forth depending on who's in office. Although neither is comparable to the US military size and scope, both found the same problems: much higher injuries, lower performance, right, among women, that skyrocketed costs and degraded readiness, right? So whatever happened to this equality, right? And we read this paragraph as well. It says drafting women is a bad idea because putting women in combat units is a bad idea. That's poorly written, right? Written by a woman, right? It says it's a bad idea on a myriad of fronts. From degraded combat readiness to skyrocketing injuries, risk, expense, and danger to the long-term medical bill and increased casualties, right? And like I said, that is exactly what it is. Women ain't built for the battle, neither should they be. You read the law of Israel, right? In fact, let me get that in there, right? So Numbers 1, start from verse 18 to verse 20, says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. Right, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, right, but the house of their fathers, right, showing you, the lineage is through the father, right, showing you more, once again, the importance of the man, right, over the woman, right. Now, does a woman have a role? Yeah, of course. She's a mother, right. She looks after the children, right. She raises the children, which Esau will try and make it look like a role that shouldn't be, seen and, celebrated, right? But that's an important role, right? This is according to, but is she on the same level as a man? Hell no, right? It says by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, right? From 20 years old and upward by their polls, right? So for his keyword, 20 years old, right? As the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Right, and that's the thing also, you can't just draft everyone into the war. Right, it says all that were able to go to the war. Law says, if a man has just married a woman, right, for a year he can't go to war. His head's in the wrong place. If a man's fearful, he ain't going to war, right? Something like also a man plant a vineyard or something like that, right? Why? Because your mind is in the wrong place, right? Your mind is in the wrong place. Let's say you just married your woman, you just popped it once, right? And then now you're going to war, right? You're gonna be thinking about your woman, man. Are you going to be thinking about your woman? Man, like I said, your mind's just going to be in the wrong place, right? And instead of throwing the spear, you have flashbacks of that pussy, and then now you're dead, right? So this whole thing of a draft, one, that's off. In basketball, you have the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest man, right? Which is why, but Esau wants this bloodshed. He wants so many people to die, right? This is from beliefnet.com, right? It says it would be a very dark day indeed for America to ever reinstate the draft, right, to reasonably require a draft, conscripting in a massive number of untrained, right, possibly unreliable recruits. So like I was saying, according to scripture, man, it's men that are able to go forth to war, men that are 20 years old and upward, right? Right, and I wanted to just touch on this one. I didn't finish reading all of this, right? But, I just read that and I thought, yeah, but this is exactly what's coming, right? It says it will be, let me read it. It will have to be a dark day indeed for America to ever reinstate the draft. Now, we can even go here. It says, Amos, in fact, let me get Joel, right? It says Joel 2, right? It says 2 from the top. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound the alarm in my holy mount, which is what, starting from the apostles on down, that the men, that the Lord has set up to teach us word of doing. We're sounding an alarm. We're telling the children of Israel, look, man, there's such and such is happening, right? We're telling the heathen, look, your destruction is nigh, right? So for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, right? So yeah, it will be a very dark day. It will be, the day of the Lord, right? A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. They hath not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Right, so that's basically going into the fact that, yeah, it will be a very dark day, a day that has never been seen on earth before, right? It'll be a day like no other. Thus saith the Lord. Let me get this as well. Amos 5:18. Right, says, woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light. So yeah, it will be a dark day, right? And this is because, this kingdom that has been set up, is to be destroyed, right? So I'll get this. It's Isaiah 47:6. It says, I was wroth with my people, right? That's Israel, right? I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy, right? And upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke, right? So, when Israel was in captivity under these heathens, right, predominantly Esau, the so-called white man, right, America, right, Esau had, he showed no mercy, man, right? Carry on, says, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. So you just be meh. That's what you did, man. It was, is this? Right, it says Zechariah 11:5 says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and you see them now. They're holding themselves not guilty. Oh man, it was my forefathers, man. It was a very terrible thing, that very terrible, right? It says, and they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So Esau's looking at his riches thinking, look, man, yeah, obviously, Lord doesn't pity them. Look how much money I made. Look how rich I am. So he's not considering. So, but now you got, Lord set up his men, right, basically teaching the word and truth. While sincerity, Esau's getting, Esau's getting scared now. Esau's getting scared now, right? Because now we're telling them, look, there is a latter end for what you did, right? People ask, why does America have to be destroyed? Because of this, right? So I'll read 6 again. I was wroth with my people. I polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy, right? So you didn't show the children of Israel no mercy, man. You read some of the accounts that happened on the islands, like the Caribbean islands, so called, right? Stories and accounts what happening, in the Americas, all that these devils were doing. All right, let me carry on back in verse 8 now. It says, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly. Right, America's all about pleasures, man. And dwelling, just just do it, yeah. Spring break, yeah, woo. right? That dwelleth carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me, right? Talking about that pride of America, right? It says, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children, right? So hey, what do you call it? America's never been touched. You read that in the first chapter, which right, it says virgin daughter of Babylon, right? 9/11 was an inside job. Right? Pearl Harbor, they knew that was happening, and they used that to sway the minds of the people, right? It says, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shalt thou come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, right? They shall, your men are gonna be drafted into the war, right? And what you call it? They gonna die. Right? Your sons are gonna be drafted, and they gonna die, right? Now we read this one here. This is what you call it, from the News Tribune, right? It says what you call it, the News Tribune. It says, will your daughters have to register for the draft? No, Republicans say. Right, so basically saying, you read it into it, basically, so let's say this is this paragraph here. Last year, so this is dated July 7th, so 7/7/2017, you know, it's something to that. It says, last year the House and Senate both approved plans to draft women if necessary, right? But Republicans later used a procedural maneuver to scrap them, right? So, but basically, if they were approved, right? Well, it goes on to, lawmakers did, however, create an independent 11-member national commission on military, national, and public service to study, among other things, instead in the draft to include women. Right, the commission created when the law was signed by President Barack Obama, right, in December 2016, is just getting off the ground. And this is, Esau likes to play this whole game, blah 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 blah, right? But ultimately, right, this war's gonna happen, man. And it says the men are gonna die, right? So that draft's gonna have to be extended, man, right? And it says in so I think is at the point. Right, so it says, in the memo, Trump said the commission should closely examine the feasibility and advisability of modifying the selective service process to leverage individuals with critical skills for which the nation has a need without regard to age or sex. Right? So, hey, you women, you've made your bed. Now fucking lay in it, man. Right? Let me get this. This is Psalm 55:21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Right, so Esau came, hey ladies, no man should ever tell you what you gotta do. Right? That demon voice. Esau came and told these women. These women like, yeah. And then now they're gonna have to pay for that. Right? Well, because this man will come say what you need to hear and then fuck you over in the next sentence. Right, here it is. What was it? Which called Democrats. That's the same party Hillary Clinton was on, right? But the women were going, oh yeah, the sisters, woo, yeah, the sisters, Hillary Clinton, yeah. But Hillary Clinton's side, they were saying y'all should be drafted. But once again, as you're saying, you women are stupid, man. Right? Let me get this Joel, and I'll get two more and I'll close. It was Joel 3:2 says, I will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, right, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have, and once again, that's one of the reasons why these people are gonna have to, that's why America's gonna be destroyed. That's why these heathens are going to be hit with these military missiles, with these ICBM nuclear missiles, man. London's going to get hit. You see, Nebuchadnezzar says, because of their pride, the cities shall be destroyed. Right? And you always see on the fashion bags, London, Milan, Paris, New York, San Francisco. So all them nations and proud nations, they going to get hit. Right? Verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Right, so beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. That's talking about, start basically, instead of concentrating on agriculture, right? Now start funneling money from agriculture into military, right? Let the weak say I'm strong. You got your Pakistans and your Indias, right? That have what do you call it? That have military might, right? It says, assemble yourselves and come, O ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Did the cause thy mighty ones come down, O Yahweh? Right, let the heathen be awakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Right, Jehoshaphat meaning the valley of the Most High's judgment. Right, Yahweh Yahweh's judgment. Right, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Right. So basically, those those nations are gonna come together in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and they're gonna it's gonna be a great meat grind. A lot of people are gonna die over there, right? And then those are the military men that don't die, right? When Yahweh Shai comes in them chariots, right? They're gonna try to fight the Lord, and the Lord's gonna kill them, pursuant to 2 Ezra the 13th chapter. Or I'll not end in 2 Ezra 16:22. Says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that shall escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, right? So all around the world you're gonna have a lot of death, mass death, right? And famine's gonna be a big contributor, because how does most food get anywhere? You look at England, a lot of it's imported. You got all of this fruit, right? That don't grow in the UK, right? I can go to as the Tesco right now and buy mangoes. Why should I be able to buy mangoes in England? Right, and I'll be able to do the same in winter. Go there in the deep depths of winter. I'll be able to go and buy some mangoes. All manner of fruits that don't grow in this country. Why? Because all imported, right? And Esau's basically got everyone in these mega cities, right? Where food doesn't grow. Most people don't know. I'll put my hands on. I don't know how to make myself a little how to be farmer or whatever. I don't know. Right? It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, right? And they shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Right, so like I said, the scripture is saying here, right, these cities shall be cast down. Right, and the dead, what says means by the dead shall be cast out as down. There shall be so much dead, and there ain't gonna be anyone to bury them. Right, which is why when you read what was it? It was Ezekiel 39:14. Talks about men of continual employment. I won't get it, but speaks about men of continual employment. Right, it's talking about when these elites come out. Right, when these elites get caught up and picked up, right, after the destruction, when they're cast into slavery, their first job is going to be putting all these dead bodies away, man, burying them, right? It says and because of that, right, there's going to be so many. Look at a city like London, man. You got 10 million people round about living in this in this one little city, right? When the food stops coming in, when the trains stop running, when the planes stop running, you got people from Europe that are over here in London, right? When all hell breaks loose, there ain't enough food in London to feed 10 million people. A lot of people, they gonna die. They gonna kill each other. Ain't gonna be no one to bury them. They're already running out of space in London to bury, right? It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. And the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. Right, and that's how bad it's gonna be. That's how much death is coming, right? To the end that you going desire to see another man's face, right? For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of a field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks, right? So there's mass death and destruction coming, man. The men gonna die, right? And hey, some of you women are gonna get drafted. You gonna definitely die. Right, so Lord's all that was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.